The sun dipped low on the horizon, casting long shadows across the rugged landscape of the Old West. I found myself alone in the ghost town of Dusty Gulch, a place that time had forgotten. The creaking sign at the entrance swung lazily in the breeze, its rusty chains protesting the passage of years. A chill ran down my spine as I stepped onto the dusty main street, the only sound the eerie whisper of the wind through the skeletal remains of long-forgotten buildings. I was drawn to Dusty Gulch by tales of spectral cowboys and vengeful spirits that lingered in the shadows of this once booming frontier town. Legends spoke of a cursed gold mine that brought fortune and misery in equal measure. The townsfolk had vanished overnight, leaving behind only the lingering echoes of their final moments. As I explored the decaying remnants of Dusty Gulch, the wooden planks beneath my boots groaned in protest. The ghostly memories of the past seemed to seep from the very earth, manifesting as faint whispers that stirred the tumbleweeds in the ghost town's deserted streets. My lantern flickered, casting dancing shadows on the weathered facades of saloons and brothels frozen in time. In the heart of the ghost town, I discovered the entrance to the fabled Goldstrike Mine. The time-worn timbers framed a dark maw that seemed to swallow the feeble light of my lantern. A shiver ran down my spine as I stepped into the abyss, the air thick with the weight of centuries-old secrets. The mine shaft descended into the bowels of the earth, and with each step, the temperature dropped. The walls dripped with moisture, and the echoes of my footfalls bounced off unseen chambers. As I delved deeper, the oppressive silence was shattered by the distant moans of restless spirits, their anguished cries reverberating through the subterranean labyrinth. Suddenly, the mine tunnel opened into a vast cavern adorned with veins of gleaming gold. The air was thick with the metallic scent of the precious metal, and my heart quickened with the promise of untold riches. However, the walls of the cavern were also adorned with the ethereal forms of ghostly miners, their spectral pickaxes striking against invisible seams in the rock. I watched in horror as the ghostly figures toiled in eternal agony, their hollow eyes fixed on the veins of gold that had condemned them to this otherworldly existence. The cavern echoed with the clinking of phantom tools and the tormented whispers of the miners who had lost their souls to the insatiable lust for gold. I stumbled backward, desperate to escape the haunted depths of Goldstrike Mine. As I retraced my steps, the air grew colder, and the oppressive darkness seemed to press in on me from all sides. The mine seemed to shift and twist, its layout defying logic and reason. I felt the eyes of unseen entities watching my every move, their silent judgment piercing through the veil between the living and the dead. Emerging back into the ghost town, I was greeted by a sight that froze my blood. The spectral forms of Dusty Gulch's former inhabitants materialized before me, their transparent visages twisted in silent screams of despair. They reached out to me, their ghostly fingers grazing my skin with a cold touch that sent shivers through my entire being. I fled through the deserted streets, the ghostly apparitions trailing behind me like a spectral posse. The once silent wind now carried the anguished wails of the forsaken, their voices intertwining with the mournful howls of coyotes in the distance. Desperation clawed at my chest as I sought refuge in the remains of the town saloon. The swinging doors creaked open before me, and I stumbled inside, the ghostly procession halting at the threshold. The air inside the saloon was thick with the residual smoke of long extinguished cigars, and the piano in the corner played a haunting melody that echoed through the empty space. I turned to face the ghostly congregation, their silent gazes fixed upon me with a collective sorrow that transcended time. It was then that I understood. I had trespassed into a realm where the living were unwelcome, and the echoes of the past clung to the present with a tenacity that defied the passage of centuries. With a final, mournful chord from the phantom piano, the ghostly apparitions dissipated like morning mist. The saloon fell into an eerie silence, and I found myself alone once more, the weight of the encounter settling upon my shoulders. As I stepped back onto the deserted streets of Dusty Gulch, I couldn't shake the feeling that the spirits of the Old West still lingered, bound to the land by the unfulfilled desires and the tragedies of a bygone era.